Every lesson is a lyric in the universal song. Oh, the lessons of the journey, I'll weave them in my song.
Hello and welcome to Lessons of the Journey, where we discuss the stuff we actually needed to learn in school with Coach Jen and Coach Nicole.
We're so happy you joined us today. Thank you so much. Today, we're going to be diving into one of the most personal, totally complex, and yet necessary topics in all of modern life, and that is work-life balance. And does it exist? With the constant pressures of digital demands, job expectations, societal hustle culture, how is it that we create a life that feels truly aligned? And I think that we start with defining what the elusive work-life balance actually is. Nicole, how do we do that? What's the definition?
All right, this is the definition we're going to go with. So work-life balance refers to achieving a harmonious equilibrium between professional responsibilities and personal life, including family, relationships, hobbies, and self-care. It's about managing work commitments in a way that minimizes stress, supports well-being, and allows for a fulfilling personal life.
There's a lot up in there.
There is a lot up in there. I think most people say, okay, work-life balance, you're talking about balancing my job and my home life. I think that's what comes to most people's mind. But I love that this incorporates hobbies and self-care, because those are two things that I think people don't think about when they think about that balance of life, and managing our commitments in a way that minimizes stress. I don't think we go that way.
No, modern life, minimizing stress. Like, isn't modern life stress? Like all of it? That's what it is. Stress. We're all stressed out all the time.
We have an episode all about that. Absolutely. But we also have to support our well-being. We have to allow for our fulfilling personal life. Fulfilling personal life, we're here once. This is the time we know for sure this is going to happen for us. So it's the one life. How do we fulfill our personal life? And I think that is the key. And that's what we're going to discuss.
All right.
So I think, first of all, we have to redefine balance. Balance, a lot of people think of balance as 50-50. I'm 50% this, I'm 50% that. And I think we have to get away from that concept completely, because if we say, okay, work-life balance needs to be 50-50, we are always in failure mode. If you listen to our podcast, you know us. We don't ever want you in failure mode. So that's not what we're looking for. It's fluid and it's value-driven. So important that we're doing things that drive our values and are driven by our values. It's goaling for that work-life balance over time, not in the moment. So if we were to say, are you living work-life balance this week? Probably the answer is hell no, because we're off balance. It's a week. Okay, if you say, are you living work-life balance today? No, we're never in that 50-50, and we have to get away from that. Am I living work-life balance over a year? Okay, now it's achievable. We have to think in the sense of time. Stephen Covey says the key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities.
Oh yeah. You know, both of us are all up on that scheduling. It matters so much. And yes, of course, we think of it as 50-50 because it's in the title. It's deceiving. Work and life. If you were to balance those two things, that's what we forget. Work encompasses so many things. At our jobs, no matter what you do, there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into that. And then in your life, there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into that. And so, of course, one thing or another is going to have to take priority at different times. So I'm so glad that you are attempting to help people shift the definition. I think that's so necessary.
Yes. You know, the key factor is trying to achieve that work-life balance over time. Again, time is such an important concept involved in this discussion. And we're not going to get it in the moment. I mean, you can't be sitting at work going, I'm looking for work-life balance and I'm 100% at work. That's not how it works. That being said, you can be sitting at home and being distracted by work. And we're going to talk about that as we move forward. I think it's just that key of we're looking for that equilibrium over time. So do not think of balance as 50-50. I don't know where your brain goes, but my brain, when I hear balance, I literally am seeing the justice balance scale.
Yes, exactly. My brain too.
Yeah, my head does that. It's like, oh, it's got to be 50-50. We're not going to stay there. It's not a space we stay in. We never stay in 50. Sometimes we're 80-20. Sometimes we're 100-0. We're all over the place. It's over time. How does it feel? How does it work? How do we get that balance over time? And that's the key, I really believe. Now, one of the things we have to do in modern life is we have to let go of perfection.
What?
Yeah, and that's tough. Well, I shouldn't say it's tough. Maybe for some people, they're like, I'm not a perfectionist. I don't care. I let everything go. Me, I am on the opposite side. I am a total perfectionist. I am constantly teaching myself to let go of my perfectionism. And we have to do that in order to lead this balanced life. It's really leaning into what matters at the moment. It's leaning into where you are. If you're at work, be present at work. If you're at home, be present at home. If you're working on yourself, be present with yourself. If you're working on a hobby, be present in the hobby. Be where you are in the moment. And that sounds so simple. Simple, not easy.
Not easy. Well, especially with the squirrely brain like I have. I can sit and be totally engaged in a hobby. I love to paint. You see my paintings behind me. It's a fun thing. It's a hobby. It's the thing that I get to do when I have time. But oh gosh, when do I have time? When can I make the time to do the thing that really fulfills me when I have the time? And guess what? I would have to schedule something like that. Or I would have to create, my goodness, a boundary maybe to let people know, hey, this is this time for me. And I think that that's a really necessary point to make in this work-life balance idea, is that it is necessary to create boundaries and stick to them so that we don't create our own burnout in our lives. And we've done an episode on this. Healthy boundaries must be non-negotiable in your life. I think that that is so necessary in pointing out that you're not going to even find that overtime balance if you're not regularly defining and redefining what those boundaries are for you and making them non-negotiable. So I have a funny story. I used to sell real estate. And in that time, real estate agents are like, my phone needs to ring. I need to do business. My phone needs to ring. And then I need to set appointments. And then I need to go on those appointments. And I need to get listings, and I need to get buyers, and I need to do all of those things. And yes, you need to get those appointments for buyers and sellers. You need to do that. And yet I would need a massage because I would be totally stressed out. And guess what? That would go on my calendar as an appointment. And when my phone did ring and it was a buyer or a seller and they wanted to meet on Friday at 10 a.m., I would say, oh, I'm sorry, I have an appointment at that time. I'm available at such and such time or such and such time. And a colleague, this is when I was brand new in real estate, a colleague in the little cubby next to me would be like, Jen, it was just a massage. Why wouldn't you take the business? And I go, because I had an appointment. Whether you care about my massage or not, it's an appointment that I need to keep with myself. I'm not going to then look at my calendar and say, oh, well, it's just for me, so I'll have to reschedule that because I'm not as important as this. Guess what? Yes, I am. I can't serve you well if I'm not serving myself well. And it was a running joke. We're still friends to this day. Jen, everything on your calendar is an appointment. Yes, everything on my calendar is an appointment. I'm sorry, I have an appointment at that time. And I know that's a wild idea for a lot of realtors out there. What? You wouldn't take the business? No, it's not that I wouldn't take the business. It's that I had an appointment. And whether it was with myself or anybody else was really none of that person's business. It was an appointment. And I was not going to rearrange my life to suit this person's needs because I decided early on that I was not desperate and that the things that were going to work were going to work. So that was a really important thing that I learned about being able to kind of get it all in. I have an appointment. Yeah. Nobody else's business what that appointment is. I'm not about to go justify my life to somebody else. That's where we get in trouble. That's where we allow folks to put us into burnout because we are not aligning and keeping our healthy boundaries. So Betsy Jacobson, she says, balance is not better time management, but better boundary management. And I love that because it can all work. We decide what our priorities are, and then we decide to set the boundaries around them. What do you think?
Yeah, so important. It's funny how coaches can be so different. I actually had a coach that was coaching me in business, and the very beginning of COVID, we didn't know what was going to happen in the real estate world. I was in real estate at that time too. And the coach I had at the time said to me, you need to cut back on all unnecessary expenses because we don't really know if the market was just going to absolutely dive and become nothing. And we went through my monthly budget and she tried to take out my massages. I remember very clearly thinking, why is self-care always the first thing to go? Mm-hmm. And I said, no, my self-care is not going to go because that's actually very important, is that I continue taking care of me. And at the time I was actually doing both jobs because I was coaching agents and doing my own real estate work. It was a lot. And I thought, I can't give up my self-care. I would rather give something else up. And I gave other things financially up versus that self-care piece. But that always seems to be on the chopping block first. And I wonder why that is. I think that's a concern.
Yeah, well, it's just me, right? I can make it up to myself another time. It's just me. It's just me. And I was a victim of that. Oh, it's just me. I can disappoint myself easily. I'll get over it. Right? I couldn't pause. That was part of that people-pleasing thing that I've well gotten over. Well, do you know, Nicole, that over 53% of employees report experiencing burnout? So whether you're a 1099 or a W-2, over half of the people out there in the workforce report.
Yeah, burnout is legitimately a thing and we have to be aware of it because it affects all of our world. We're talking about the work-life balance. You get burnout at work and there's no one who'll convince me that that's not going to highly affect the life as well. It's going to affect all areas. Then we're not going to be 50-50. We're going to be 10 and 10 because we literally can't function at our highest ability. So yes, burnout we have to avoid.
Yeah, and you're going to lose it on somebody, whether it's somebody at work, whether it's the project you're working on, whether it's somebody at home, your partner, your children, a friend. At some point, it's going to let go. Then, because you didn't manage those boundaries well, now you're playing cleanup on the back end. And that's taking more time because now you have repair work to do or something to make up for. And that just adds more to your plate where we really could have cut that off at the beginning by allowing ourselves the time, space, opportunity to take care of all of it in a healthy boundary type of way. I think that this day and age that we're talking about modern life, these damn cell phones, we are constantly accessible. Text, email, phone. You can work from anywhere. You can have a job based out of New York and sitting here in Hawaii. You can work from anywhere. And we are constantly available to people. And because of this, people got the idea that that's necessary. You must be constantly available to me because you have this little computer right here that says that I can get in touch with you. So why wouldn't you respond? I don't care if you're with your kids. Oh, whew. It gets tough because the expectation.
Yeah. Just to bring it up, this was many years ago, probably 20 years ago. So my kids were under 10 and a teenager. And everything that they had going on was also an appointment. Mm-hmm. If I had a baseball game, it was an appointment. Mm-hmm. Because what I found out early was if I say to a client that I have an appointment, it's respected.
Yes.
If I say I have a game for one of my kids, it's not served with the same respect. And that to me is amazing. I would think that time with your children would be served with higher respect, and yet it's not.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have an appointment, because then they assume it's with another client. And okay, well, you're supposed to work with more than just me, hopefully.
If you're doing your job. Yeah, I have experienced the same, which is why that whole appointment thing. And clearly the person teasing me about it didn't feel the same way. And I'll tell you what, I saw his career go the way that it went. And man, the burnout on that one.
Yeah.
So yes, absolutely. And we can't and I was going to say shouldn't, and that's really judgy, but we cannot think that the people we are interacting with give the same value to the things that we give value to, i.e., my kid's baseball game, i.e., I'm cooking dinner for my kids tonight. I'm not going to answer my phone. Why would I assume that you give value to the same thing that I give value to? So if I'm going to attempt to tell you what my thing is, I don't need to explain that to you because it's not yours. So appointment is a great way to kind of all encompassing, keep your life together. I have an appointment with myself. I have an appointment with my kids. It's nobody else's business what that looks like. And that, I think, is a very healthy way to create boundaries around what you have going on. I think also we've kind of lost this. You don't have to be attached to your cell phone. You can come home at the end of the day and put it down. You can create time and space in your house, a digital detox zone. At 8 o'clock, I put my phone down and I don't look at it again until 8 o'clock the next morning. That's not my life. But we can do that. I know teenagers who have phones. I know parents who have those teenagers put those phones in a bucket in a locked up place at a certain time every night, and they're not allowed to touch them again. I put my phone on silent after 8:30. You can be my best friend. You're not getting in touch with me after 8:30 p.m. Also, my clients know I'm unavailable from 5:30 to 7:30. That's it. I'll get back to you before 8:30, but I'm unavailable. I don't care if you care. If you care so much, I'm probably not the one that you need to be working with, and I'm good with that. Again, working on those boundaries. Calendar blocking, like what we were just talking about. Nicole and I are huge on that. It really helps make sense of where we need to be and how much we can actually get done when it's calendared out. The brilliance of being able to say no as a complete sentence. Hey, Jen, can you? No.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant statement. It really is. And it needs no explanation. If we are one of those folks that feel as though our no's need an explanation, I would invite you to just start practice saying it with a big, strong period at the end. And you see the smile? No.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And don't get me started on calendar blocking. I mean, if you're somebody who really, really, truly is working on your work-life balance, and this is something that you're like, I need to get a handle on this, your calendar is your number one way. Mm-hmm. It really is. It's your number one way. It's your freedom piece. And that's really the first direction to go.
Yeah, I think it's worth reiterating that we are not victims to our calendars. We are the creators of our lives. We want you to love your calendar because you are the creator of it. You are not a victim to it. You get to decide what that looks like for you. I think that's really important.
Yeah, my calendar is 100% freedom for me. And it's how I know that my equilibrium over time is where it needs to be, because it will show me how my balance is working. And I love it. It's wonderful. We definitely have to talk about mental health being foundational. And I think, again, going back to what I was talking about, where it's like, oh, your massage has to go, so that self-care has to go. I think the mental health for a lot of us is the thing that we let slip to the side quickly when everything's not going exactly as it needs to be. I think that's really a disservice to us. And one of the things I love about society right now is mental health is becoming much more of a conversation. More people are embracing that and understanding the value of it. This is just something we've got to focus on. We have to focus on our mental health. 65% of workers feel their jobs negatively affect their personal relationships.
Ouch.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I see it. I absolutely see it.
Yeah, we deal with it all the time.
Yep.
I mean, you see it as a coach. I see it as a coach. We hear about it from our friends. We hear about it on social media.
Yep, absolutely. Tim was working. I went through it. His work 100% negatively affected our relationship. That being said, our relationship was strong enough to make it through that. Work can really, really negatively affect. And we've got to take a look at why is that and what's happening. Let's be honest. If work is going bad. Are you going to bring it home? That's the question. So you've got a stopgap between work and home. We're just going to talk about work and home right now, not even the hobbies and the extras. If I'm at work and things are going to crap, and I come home and I don't make a stop between the two and say, hey, I got to get my mental state right. And that's very tough to do when your mental health is not strong. When your mental health is strong, it's easy to go, I'm going to leave that at work and I'm going to come home and be who I need to be at home to be supportive in all of my relationships at home, not necessarily just your partner, children, friends, all the relationships that exist in your world. I need that stopgap. I'm going to leave that work stuff at work. When we are not mentally healthy, we will bring work home. That's just what will happen is we will bring that negativity right through the door, and then our relationships are going to be affected by that. And we've got to keep that mental health strong. And we know what it takes. It's the things that we're aware of. It's the therapy, the mindfulness apps. There's so many of those great apps. You've talked about the Calm app, breath work, breathing properly. How many people actually stop for 30 seconds and take a couple deep breaths before they come home?
I mean, I do, but nobody else I knew. That's one of the main things we talk about in my particular coaching. I think I've mentioned before, my 5-year-old knows about box breathing, the balanced breath, a 4-4-4-4. You can do that in the car on the way home. And you'd be amazed at what 1 minute of box breathing can do for your whole self. It's really brilliant. 1 minute in the car. You're there anyway.
Yeah.
Try it. You might like it.
Take the moment. With so many more people working at home, for me, the distance between work and home is 5 steps. So I got to stop between those 5 steps and go, take a breath. Now you're home, different environment, different things. I've had moments where maybe I'm stressing out about something that we're going to record on the podcast or something I need to do. I've seen myself take it out on my husband, and I have to say to him, I'm sorry, this isn't you. I've got some research to do and it's feeling overwhelming for me. It's not you. So it's also that, are we expressing ourselves in a healthy way to the people that we care about?
That's definitely awareness. That is something that if we are maintaining healthy boundaries, we have a moment to be able to do that.
Yes.
It's tough if we're not. If we're one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, it's really difficult to wrap your mind around what the mindfulness might look like in between all of that. Take the time, take the breath, allow yourself some space.
The last thing I'm going to say on mental health, which I think is really important, and it does take a lot more than 30 seconds. That being said, I think it is incredibly helpful, and that is journaling. I have always found journaling to be something that really keeps me balanced and keeps me feeling much more mentally sound. Just something I wanted to make sure we brought up.
Now, I'm also a journaler. Let me ask you, because I think that, that's been one of those things that's been put out there and people go, what am I going to journal about? What are some things that come out for you? You don't have to get personal about it, but are there topics? Are there themes? Is it whatever stream of consciousness? How do you use yours?
I use mine in a couple of different ways. Number one, I like to talk about what happened the day before. I like to discuss some of my highlights, what I'm grateful for. I like to talk about someone I want to send love to. I don't have it in front of me, so I don't have my things memorized, but I sort of answer some questions. Then I'll always put what I'm working on. And the reason I put what I'm working on is because I love going back into my journals from like 3 years ago and going, oh, wow, I was working on that like 3 years ago or even 9 months ago. And I always impress myself over long periods of time how much work I do, because when we're living our day to day, sometimes we don't see. And when you can go back to a journal from 3 years ago and go, wow, I've made leaps and bounds in 3 years. If I just look at yesterday, I'm not making leaps and bounds, but if I can go back a period of time. So I do like to focus on what I'm working on. And I like to talk about the steps that are happening within my journey as well. Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's sort of a summary. What do you usually do?
I'm very much a stream of consciousness journaler. Whatever's come up, whatever I've been thinking about, I kind of take myself through my own coaching process within my brain. I just write as I am thinking. And in looking back, I like that because we have the benefit of hindsight. And I've gone back to my journals and I went, man, I knew the answer then. The answer to the thing that I was questioning, I wrote it. So that's really helped me trust myself more. understand that I really do have all the answers I need. And if I don't have the answers, I have the ability to find them, whether it's within myself, within my tribe, my community, my coaches. So that's how I use it. My family does gratitudes at dinner. We speak them every day, so I don't necessarily need to write them down. Every once in a while, if it is in stream of consciousness, like, oh, I'm so happy my 5-year-old did this today. We've been working on it, that kind of stream of consciousness, but I don't follow a form. It's just kind of my version of letting it all out. Yeah.
Nice.
That's how I do it. And do you do yours in the morning or at night?
I journal in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm before bed. I'm getting it all out before bed.
Yeah. And I journal in the morning. I prefer to reflect back on the day before and do the what worked and where are we and what am I working on and what's the outlook. For some reason, it's never worked for me to journal in the evening. Yeah.
So that is something that I needed to do to replace technology before bed. That is something that we need to talk about, that doom scrolling that we all have fallen victim to in the age of social media. So I think the next thing we need to talk about is the role of technology in our lives. And the biggest point, I think, is tech is an amazing tool and it's something to be used. I think what we've seen in modern time is that instead of us using it, it's using us. It knows what it wants to show us. It catches us. That's where doom scrolling comes from. You look up, it's been an hour and you're like, I haven't done anything with my life. This is a word that I'm having trouble with. Asynchronous communication. It's a form of communication where there's a time delay between when a message is sent and when it's received and responded to. Meaning it's not happening in real time. We've all sat there and we've seen the ... dots on the text and we're hanging on those ... dots. What are they going to say? I'm sitting here. I'm ready to respond to the ... What is it? And then they go and you're like, what is happening? I'm ready. I'm here. Did y'all know that sometimes I don't even know where my cell phone is these days? When I had kids, my whole life changed. I went, I don't want my phone to ring. Put it away. You are lucky to get a response from me to a text in 20 minutes. That is if I have my phone on me. I had to rewind the expectation. Why do I have to be available to you all of the time? Why does that make sense for my life? It doesn't. That's the way that I've decided to create my life. And people who love me just kind of know that. So instead of instant replies, whether it's a phone call, video conference, this type of communication allows for flexible interactions. So you can communicate at your own pace and convenience. Go figure. It's about me this time. Nicole and I just right before this episode, I was talking about how do I get my phone to stop vibrating? I just want it on silent. And she said, put it on do not disturb. I went, oh yeah, do not disturb. Because I have those focuses set up in my iPhone. After 8:30, it's not going to ring. And I forgot that I can do that manually on my phone as well. So it's not going to vibrate while we're sitting here talking. There's also scheduling apps that you can create your life around. And just understand that just because somebody is reaching out, you don't owe them instantaneous anything. And we like to do that in conversation too. We often listen just to respond. We don't necessarily listen to understand. And I think that that's a big part of how we kind of get caught up in this unbalanced mess that we find ourselves in sometimes.
When you say use tech, don't let it use you. I'm actually teaching this to my 8-year-old granddaughter. At 8 years old, she just wants to play games on my phone. And she's not on my phone very often. We're playing most of the time. But sometimes she'll go, okay, I want to play on your phone. And now I'm at the point where I have Sudoku. And I told her she has to learn how to play. It's hard for her. She doesn't know how to play it yet, but she knows her numbers. She understands math. I said, until you learn how to play that, you don't get to play the easy games, because you can use your phone for mindless stuff, or you can use your phone for value. And her learning Sudoku is going to teach her a lot more about adding and subtracting, being able to do that quick. And you want to play with my phone, that's what you play with. Until you can show me that you're proficient at that game, you're not going to play the mindless games, because I want her to learn that technology can be amazing, but it can also be a waste of time and energy. And I don't want her to fall into that trap. Side note, she saw me playing it on the couch and she goes, "You're so fast at that." Because I know how to add really well and subtract.
Yeah. It is kind of a trap. I do work from home and my phone is my everything. And I don't mean that if I lost it for a day, I would lose my mind, because that has happened and I'm grateful that I've lost it for a day. I mean, in that I am on my phone for work. I am looking at emails on my phone. I'm looking at contracts on my phone. I am doing Zoom calls on my phone. I also have 2 games on my phone. And so my children see me on my phone all day long. I know that they assume that all I'm doing is playing games on my phone all day. To which I respond, how did you get fed? Mom still has to work. Mom still has to make money somehow. And I am blessed in that I've created a life that I can go anywhere with it and use my phone to be productive. And I have to have limits set. I've created my social media so that it's intriguing content to me. It's not mindless kind of stuff. It's from scientists and therapists, and it's the kind of content that I would like to consume, but I can get caught up in it. So as interesting as I find it, I really have to have a way to shut it down sometimes. I still use those type of apps that say, hey, too much time on this, you got to move on. Okay, thanks for the prompt, because I'm human. But my kids look at me and they go, she plays games all day long. Dad makes all the money. And I go, okay, yes, you have seen me play a game. And when you're at school, or I am working, and this is how I work. This is just how we have it set up. There is that fine balance between me using my piece of technology to actually do my job, make things happen, and reset, which is, okay, I'm going to play my game for 15 minutes and kind of reset and move on to a different part of my life. That's where the using it versus let it use you. I don't have it because I'm not ready for it yet. I saw an app where if you want to have access to social media, it makes you do like sit-ups or push-ups, and you have to put your camera and you have to show yourself doing push-ups, and however many push-ups you do, you get that many minutes on social media. I think that's the way it works. I went, that is so good.
That's smart.
I need that.
I like that idea.
Adam Grant said that true commitment to work-life balance is giving people permission to take other priorities as seriously as their jobs.
I love Adam Grant.
He's incredible. Read all of his books.
Yeah.
All of them. It's such good information.
Yeah.
But I think that quote really speaks into what we're going to talk about next.
Yes. We're going to talk about decoupling productivity from self-worth. This, I think, is a bigger problem for more people than we realize. This was definitely a thing for my husband when he was in the workforce. Now, it was hidden a little bit. You had to kind of uncover the self-worth. So decoupling productivity from self-worth. You are not your output. So my husband's concept was, if I go to work, if I provide for my family, I am showing up in the way that I was raised to show up, which is to provide for my family. So when you say things like provide for your family, yes, we need to eat. We need to have a roof over our head. And that can go to an extreme that is not healthy and be very out of balance when it comes to work-life balance. Now, you're talking about self-worth. I would say that my husband's self-worth was definitely tied to how he showed up for his family. And his productivity was then tied to his self-worth. And that made him think that his productivity had to be so high, even when the company wasn't valuing that productivity. So we've got to be cautious about how are we tying our self-worth to our productivity. And I'm going to go back to it. You are not your output. You are not what you provide. You are not what you produce. Jen and I are not this podcast. This is something we produce. We are not the output. We are not this podcast. This is something that we do. This is something that we love. This is something that we enjoy being a part of, but we're not this. We are a lot more.
Yeah, society screwed us up a lot here. I think it goes back to even before the Industrial Revolution. That's where child labor laws came from. I think about the idea of just output, 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 working yourself sometimes literally to death back then, which is where a majority of the current laws that we see regarding work have come from, because it is so easy to get caught up in the idea, the consumerism. More, I need to make more, I need to do more so I can make more, so I can spend more, so I can show more, so I can, and then it gets round and round and round, and somehow you just have lost yourself in the idea that all you can do is make more, do more, and if I'm not doing it, I'm lazy, or people will look at me as lazy. So I have to show up when I'm sick. I have to show up when I don't feel well. I have to show up when I'm grieving. I have to show, right? It's this idea that I have to go and do and go and do. Otherwise, I'm not doing enough. And gosh, I'm out of breath just putting the energy into that. Imagine day after day after day.
Yeah, what you're talking about, Jen, is hustle culture. And hustle culture absolutely glorifies overwork. And really, for us to resist that, it's rest. Rest is the resistance to hustle culture. It's show up, do, produce. We live in this culture that's so hustle, 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 hustle. The best way we can resist that is engage in rest. It is such an important thing. 50% of employees leave jobs due to work-life balance concerns. That's crazy. That's half of the people that leave. So you're telling me that half of the people that leave jobs, that's why they leave it, is because of work-life balance concerns. That's crazy. Employers, pay attention. You've got to figure this out, because what we're doing is not working. This hustle culture, it's not healthy. And you got to ask yourself, how do you decouple yourself from my productivity is my self-worth? How do you separate those, that productivity and self-worth? Why do we produce? That would probably be the first question to ask yourself. I produce because I want to. I produce because I love it. I produce because I need money. There are things we do produce often because we have to pay bills, because as much as we want to say that we love everything we do, there are parts of it that we are not going to like. If you can find something where you like 80% of what you're doing, oh my gosh, you are like massively winning. If you like 80% of what you're doing, even if the other 20% you absolutely despise, because that's a job. I mean, that's what they are. And I think the concept of looking for it, again, all to be 100% is unrealistic. But the hustle culture that I always have to do more, I always have to do more, I always have to do more. I mean, I hear this constantly. People will lose jobs because somebody will do the same thing for cheaper. That's a broken system. There's definitely something fundamentally broken about the system. And we need to talk about that. But I don't know what the answer is. I don't know how we change that. And we certainly aren't going to do it on today's podcast. But that's the reality. So for you, what can you do? You got to take away my productivity is my self-worth. Those are two different entities.
To have the courage, and I really do think it takes that, because we are working against a society that proclaims that you are your output. So to take that back is to take a certain amount of power back, and to be able to prioritize rest and understand that it is in fact rest, that we are not lazy because I needed a break. We are human. Just like your cell phone needs to be plugged in, we need that sometimes. And I think that we just don't do that enough, which puts us into that burnout that we were talking about. I really like that. How do you decouple your productivity from your self-worth? I think that takes a lot of reflection. I think that's something somebody could journal about.
Agreed. And in case anybody needs to hear it, yourself is worthy just for being alive. Really, we're worthy just because we're here. You don't have to prove anything. There's nothing you have to prove. Now, that being said, you might want to build on it and be a good person in a lot of different ways. That also being said, you're worthy. You're here. This whole we have to prove our self-worth thing in all the different ways is really unhealthy. And productivity is just one of them.
Yeah, I had about 1.5 years bout of battling migraines. They were specifically menstrual migraines. And for 2 days, I would be out. And you experienced this, Nicole. I would have to call and say, I can't function right now. And the level of insecurity that I would feel, not being able to get out of bed, not being able to take care of my kids, not being able to function, quote, normal human, Just being able to get up and feed my kids and give them a bath, function even as a mother, let alone output as far as my job, I felt just awful, horrible. I just suck. The level of invaluable I would feel for 2 days while I could not function was just off the charts. And I really had to get to a point that was like, Jen, your value did not leave because you are ill at this point in time. You are a valuable member of your family. Your kids love you. They understand that you're not well right now. You are working behind the scenes to figure out what is happening. So it's not like it's just falling by the wayside. But because I was raised in a way that was your productivity matters, your self-worth is your productivity. And if you're not up and doing all of the things, then you really are invaluable. I had to fight through that over the last year and a half. Like, this is recent to understand that I have worth even if I can't get out of bed today. And man, it took a long time. It's still in there a little bit. If I'm unable to help, if I can't serve, there's that little piece of me, because it's an agreement from a long time ago that doesn't serve anymore. No, Jen, it's okay. And this whole coach talk out of it. No, Jen, it's okay right now. You need to rest. Your body needs to rest right now. And I think that a lot of us, maybe especially moms, need to hear that. You are a valuable member of your household, even if you are having difficulty today. So please remember that.
Yes, so important. We have worth.
Yeah. And my story goes right into the idea of support systems and life design. No one can balance alone. This is delegation and support, so necessary. And it's important to have these things set up ahead of time for those times, because it is inevitable that something is going to happen. Life takes us by surprise all the time. Work takes us by surprise all the time. How many of us have been in the middle of a really intense work thing and the school calls because your kid's barfing and now you got to go get your kid, but you're in the middle of this work thing. Oh my gosh, what do I do? The importance of your family, community, and workplace flexibility, the ability to shift. Okay, what takes priority right now? My kid's at school barfing. I'm in the middle of this really important thing. Where's my priority? Knowing these things ahead of time and having the ability to call on the support is so important. And knowing that that is set up really takes a load off. Okay, who's my list? Who can I get to? Which auntie is on the approved pickup list for my kid because I can't get away right now? We're talking about crazy statistics here. This one is so interesting to me. 60% of workers say that they prioritize flexibility over salary. It's not surprising to me. It's just really incredible. I share in that sentiment. I would rather be able to move about my day the way that I want to, rather than be beholden to somebody because they're paying me so much. This is all about building your tribe and having that built-in support.
I'm the support system at this point. I'm the, hey, like you said, I got to go pick up the older one. She's got a stomach ache. Can you watch the younger one? Yeah, of course. I'm the support system. I'm the tribe for them in raising the kids. This is absolutely true. A lot of people having this work-life balance concern have children, because that's such a large chunk of your time that children take. And so if I can take 10 or 20% of the time that they need, and I can be that person, then I can help them, and I can be part of that support system at this point. And why wouldn't I be? It takes a village to raise children, so why wouldn't I be?
It's a really interesting shift over time where I've seen different mentality of families. And you just said it takes a village. And yes, like hell yes, 1,000,000%, it takes a village.
Yeah.
There is no way that we as one individual can get it all done and expect to have some sort of balance. No, not going to happen. Cannot happen. There was some sort of shift. It was after me. My mom was like, people are driving you. I can't be everywhere. That was necessary. But there was some sort of shift when I came back from college and I was coaching young volleyball. And I don't know what it had to do with society or what was going on. I can't quite remember, but there was this shift of parents going, you're not driving my kid. No help. I'm not going to ask for help. You're not involved. I can do it. I got it all. I went, Lord, you must be miserable. I don't know where this came from. There's a version of life that some folks are holding on to that says, I can't ask for help. I'm expected to do it all. And I'm just going to hold it. And my shoulders are keep getting up by my ears. And I'm just going to burst at some point. When ask for the help, build the tribe. It is so necessary. Yesterday, I had a Zoom. My Zoom wasn't going to end until 3:30. I needed my kids home by 3:45 so I could get them to soccer practice at 4:30. Guess who picked them up? Grandpa. Oh man, now I can get my Zoom done. Grandpa was sitting around watching TV, waiting for somebody to ask. Yes, build the tribe. Make sure that you have the help you need. No man or woman is an island. We were not meant to do this alone. Ask for the help. Get the support. It is okay and it is necessary.
And that's when we talk about family, community, and workplace flexibility. That's that flexibility piece. I'm here. What do you need? I can move things around. I can figure it out. I've got a couple things that have to happen. Other than that, my schedule is fairly flexible. And that's great for being that support team. The kids just show up sometimes. It's all good. You've got to be here. And every time they come, we're excited and we're giving everybody else a break. Yeah. And parents need a break. I mean, there's a lot going on in life when there's kids involved. And I really think if you're a single person and you go to work and then you have your hobbies and you don't really have anyone in your home except for you, it's probably pretty simple to sort of balance out your life. Now, could you also have imbalances with, hey, I'm not doing enough of my hobbies, or because I'm a single person, I am expected to be the person who does the overtime or shows up, or there's those things. So it has its own. But when you have more people counting on you, it tends to pull more of that balance. And then it's less time for personal care, less time for like we were talking about. It's just really important. We have to accept the imperfection of this. This is never going to be perfect. It's really not a final destination. We're never going to get to that 50-50. The Lady Justice is never going to have the scales perfectly. They're going to be all over the place. And we're just recalibrating it constantly. We're moving it around as necessary. We're working on it. We always say this, and we're going to say it in this episode too. Give yourself grace. We always need to give ourselves grace in all of this. We're working on this work-life balance, and it's perfectly imperfect at all times. Just embrace that and be okay with that. And you're going to look back at 1 week and go, damn, I worked too much. I didn't balance out. I wasn't there for the people I needed. Great. Take it as a lesson, not as something to use to criticize yourself. It's okay. I'm going to learn from that experience. I'm going to move forward differently. That is that recalibration. We're just constantly recalibrating. That's really important. Give yourself grace. I just think we're always going to say that.
So as somebody who heard that a lot, this me right here, honestly, I didn't even know what that meant for a long time. Everybody says this. What does that even mean? Like, it wasn't even in me. You mean accept imperfection? How is that possible? I don't do that. Which led to a lot not getting done. And in looking back, it was a disservice to myself to expect that I could do it all. And having kids did put a lot of that into perspective. Most of the time now, I just have to find humor in everything. And that was easier. Finding humor at the beginning of that was easier for me than understanding what give yourself grace meant. Now I understand what it means now as a mother, as a woman, as a human, as all of the things that I identify as. And I didn't know what it meant before that. And so humor was one way that led me into grace. So if you're a person like I was that hears give yourself grace and you're like, what the hell does that even mean? Maybe try to find humor and allow that to take the edge off, to fall into the acceptance of whatever it is that's going on, because I struggled with that personally.
I would say that's a great way to put it. I would just say embracing imperfection and moving forward without beating yourself up. That's giving yourself grace.
Nicole, that was the best thing I was good at though. So how could I give that up? That's what I was talking about. I was my biggest critic, and the give yourself grace, that just was coming from people who had no idea who I was. You don't know me. And it is necessary to say, and I had to hear it for years before I got it, before I really got it. And I really accepted what grace looked like.
Well, keep telling yourself that.
Yeah.
It's accepting imperfection, moving forward, and not beating yourself up. That's the ideal giving yourself grace.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm human. I screwed up. I will take this experience and learn from it. I will not sit here and beat myself up. I will move forward. I'm a professional beat myself upper from the past also. I've gotten better at that. I started to understand that that just doesn't serve anyone, even though I'm really good at it. And I like being really good at things.
Oh, I'm the best beat myself upper of all time. That's where I came up with, and my clients will tell you, one of the lines that they hear from me on a regular is, get over yourself. Really? You set this expectation. You're the only one. Get over yourself. That ego that's holding you back from just being okay with it, you are the only one that is looking at it this way, more than likely. And the ability to just take that step back and go, all right, I guess that's the way that worked. Learn something, we'll do it different the next time.
There you go.
Yeah.
So a couple of our main ideas, I just want to recap them. So we had redefine balance based on values, set clear boundaries, prioritize mental well-being, be intentional with technology, know that your worth is not your work, lean on your support system, and aim for progress, not perfection. So let's do our takeaways.
Yeah, my takeaway is this whole episode. I've told a couple of stories here that show that there are little creeper times where I still use the word suffer from a lot of this. So the ability to be aware, to be mindful, and the give yourself grace, that is a constant thing that I need to tell myself regularly in order to move on. Kids make it easier for me because, there's other personalities that I have zero control of. And so the ability to be like, today was rough, that didn't work. Okay, let's see what we can do again. Right now, sleep. So the done is better than perfect at this point. And that would be the progress, not perfection. Always a takeaway for me.
My takeaway is probably going to be, because this is something I'm working on, is the letting go of perfection and the embracing imperfection. And I think I've gotten much better at it. That being said, I have a ways to go. I want the scales to be 50-50 at all time. And that's an unrealistic expectation. I guess this gives us permission for that. And I like that it gives us permission for that. It's like, oh, today was a 80-20 day. Today was a 90-10 day. Today was a 40-60 day, whatever, in whatever direction, and all of the things we balance in life. I mean, our entire life is a game of balancing things. And I think having that ability to give yourself grace is the ability to say, it's never 50-50, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So that's my takeaway.
That's great. I love it. All right. Question time.
I'll go first.
Okay.
What's the most spontaneous thing you've done lately?
Lately? I got kids.
She's like, there's no spontaneity.
I quit my job. I'm going to have to go with that. I'm getting my broker's license so that I can be a broker for a company that enables me not to be taken away from my life so much at home. It's real estate related. I just never thought I would go in the direction that I'm going. And the opportunity presented itself. It was kind of one of those, I'm making this decision right now because I think this is the best thing moving forward. And I'm not necessarily that quick to, I had to put a lot of money out to go and do this thing. And it's a lot of time. And, I'm working toward what I believe the end goal is. And it was a very quick decision. So I spontaneously decided to become a broker and move into a whole different direction real estate wise. It's going to allow me more time to serve my coaching clients. It's going to allow me more time at home. So yeah, I have to go with that because it was hey, have you ever thought about this? The answer in my brain was no. Then I thought about it and then I pulled the trigger all within a few hours of each other.
Nice.
Hopefully to serve myself and my family and my clients better. Yeah, that's what I'm going with.
Nice.
Yes.
Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, I look forward to it. Okay, here's a fun one. Who is your favorite cartoon character and why?
Okay. My favorite cartoon character is Tinkerbell because she's sassy as hell.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to explain this to my grandchildren, why I love her without saying she's sassy as hell. But it's because she's sassy as hell.
Yeah.
Like, she's a little moody and a little like, don't piss me off. And like, she's got her things. And I always just resonated with that. I always loved Tinkerbell just because she is sassy. I feel like I was a sassy child and she gave me permission to be a little sassy.
Nice.
Because all the other princesses and stuff, they didn't give me permission to be sassy. So I didn't really resonate with them. But yeah, I would go with her. Cartoon character.
I love it.
But I'm going to do a second. Can I do
Okay.
a second? Okay. So my second favorite cartoon character is Bingo, which is Bluey's little sister.
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, I love Bluey. I'm going to say something maybe controversial here, but I'm going to say it. My 3-year-old granddaughter is hooked on 2 TV shows. One is Bluey. The other one is Peppa Pig, which I do not allow played in my house because I despise that show. The first show I watched, they literally tore apart a park looking for keys to a car. I was like,
my
so we're
gosh.
just destroying nature. They're just awful. I don't like that show at all. But Bluey, I love it. It has so many great things. But Bingo, I bought my granddaughter a little book. So Bingo talks about, she's 4. Okay, my granddaughter's 3. She talks about how she's taking a tactical wee, which means I'm going to go sit on the toilet. I don't really have to pee, but I'm going to go to bed. So I'm going to do a tactical wee just in case there's anything there. I just think that's so funny.
I
just
love
think
it.
Bingo's a
And
character.
the use of the word tactical.
I know. Are you taking a tactical wee? Yes.
We love
Tactical
Bluey.
wee.
Can I tell you that I have used, there's one episode where they go on a long family walk and Bingo's like, I can't do it.
The scooter, yes.
And then the gingerbread man. So can I tell you how often wait, are you the gingerbread man? That on long walks where I'm just trying to get my 3-year-old to the finish line, we turn that into the gingerbread man. I got that from Bingo on Bluey and it works every single time. Thank you, Bluey and Bingo. Yes.
I love that show. There's so many
Yes.
good lessons. I got to tell you,
So
there's
many.
episodes where I've cried.
Yes.
Like, it's like impressive. And
Yes.
they're over so quick, but they teach great lessons. I'm a huge, huge Bluey fan. Like,
I hear you on that. I second both of
Yeah.
your answers. I'm a fan of both of your answers, like you needed my permission. But good choices, Nicole.
and my Tinkerbell, my sassy little thing.
Yeah, I like it. Very cool. Well, if this episode resonated with you, please share it with a friend or leave us a review. You can check us out on Instagram at Lessons of the Journey. And please follow our show on your favorite podcast streaming service. We know your time is valuable, so thank you so much for spending some of it with us today.
Thank you. Bye.
Write your lines with passion, let your spirit freely roam. The lessons of your journey